I am not allowed to insult him for 30 minutes. So I will be staring at this regularly so that I can say, congratulations, Mike John. How are you doing, sir?
I'm really good. Thank you for asking. Thank you so much.
Okay, it is hard not to insult you outright because of our dynamic. You send me things that are equally as insulting,
yes,
but I don't mind it because you're not fun. You're a great person.
that was a good catch.
It was hard. What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you live with another installment of Grappling Hour. Well, not live. You're seeing it tape delayed. But I'm here live, which I guess is a thing. Shut up, Raf. Here's what I'm going to remind you guys about. One, if you haven't become a member of Grappling Hour, go to the following website, HY.PAGE/Grappling Hour. Become a member, support us. You'll see these interviews 30 days before anybody else. And if you're a premium member, you'll get exclusive content that I don't put anywhere else. We're talking tape studies. We're talking match breakdowns. We're talking lots and lots of interviews and additional bonus episodes that are just for the real ones. I'm going to say that. That's a real thing I'm going to start saying now. Anyway, I guess I should get to talking about my guest, but I'm going to plug the Discord as well. Come join us in the Discord. We're mad disrespectful in there. All right. What do I say about our guest? I've seen him before. It's kind of hard because we have this thing, and I should point out to people, there is a clock going here. Now, this is not just a clock that I have going on to tell me how long this interview is going, because you guys know Grappling Hour usually goes about an hour. I put on a clock because he and we have words on the internet here and there, and you know, he'll send me like a clown emoji. I'll tell him all he is a guillotine. I shouldn't say that. All right, here's why. On this clock right now, this clock is that I am not allowed to insult him for 30 minutes. So I will be staring at this regularly so that I can say, congratulations, Mike John, on being the MVP at this past weekend's, or 2 weekends ago, I guess, CJJ Worlds. Yes, we bring him back to the show as now a champion in the CJJ format. Mike John, how are you doing, sir?
I'm really good. Thank you for asking. Thank you so much.
Okay, it is hard not to insult you outright because of our dynamic. You send me things that are equally as insulting, yes, but I don't mind it because you're not fun. You're a great person.
that was a good catch.
It was hard.
Yeah, I think that we have a very mutually beneficial relationship in terms of how we communicate with each other. I think it's very special. Yeah, I say a bunch of funny things to you online, and right now I'm going to really bask in these next 28 minutes of how you cannot be rude.
27 right now.
Oh yeah, just miss it.
It is hard because I generally come in and enjoy my time here at 10th Planet Orange, and I enjoy my time with all of your friends. We have a lot of mutual friends, so it is hard to be in the belly of the beast and not be doing our normal shtick. But there is cause for celebration. How did you find out that you were going to be selected to be on this year's CJJ team, sir?
Eddie sent me a direct message. I want to say back in like June or July, whenever the last EBI qualifiers were. He's like, "Hey, I'm doing a quintet style 155 event. Do you want to be part of it?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" I've always wanted to kind of make it to the big show because I've never actually won the qualifiers. Unfortunately, I always get like second place. But Eddie's like, "Hey, I'm doing 5 155ers. Do you want to be on it?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, that sounds kind of dope." And plus the quintet style format's always cool. Some strikes in there, and it's pretty exciting. It definitely changes the game up.
Yeah, I noticed that it does work well for your style, and you've fought before, yes, so you're no stranger to it. And I love that, like, that's the hidden implication of you getting to do this again, where it's not quite MMA. Right. You know, you won't take as much damage in theory.
Hopefully not.
Your game is good enough where I don't think you will, but it is nice to get that call up because they were putting together quite an impressive team. You know, you, Orchard, Ben, Eddie. So you're around other people, and to be representing the system is really dope.
Yeah, that's kind of all I really wanted, even from like an early ranks, I should say. I would go to the qualifiers. I'd see Keith, I'd see Ben Eddy, I'd see Jeremiah Vance, I'd see Phil Schwartz, and I really just kind of wanted a seat at the table, so to speak. I really just wanted to be part of the 10P elite, so to speak. And I feel like being chosen on the team was kind of the first step to getting to that table.
Hey, and you serviced it well. You were an excellent addition, but I do wonder, though, when you do get that call and you do start amping it up, one thing that I always like to ask people who do that CJJ training is, you're not just signing yourself up, you're signing your training partners up for that particular style.
That slapping style.
How were you training? Were you implementing some slaps into it? Was it more simulated sort of situations for you?
It was definitely more simulated. I've helped a couple of people prepare in the past, and we definitely slapped a lot more. But for the training camp I did, it was just simulated. It was just, I would just shadow the slap, shadow the strikes, kind of just like show that I'd give a little shoulder motion that they could, or if I was on bottom, I would kind of cover up, or if I saw like a quick shoulder twitch, I'd kind of put my hands up a little bit. I feel like because of the MMA history I've had in the past, I was able to really just kind of read the frames on the inside. I'm able to like really make those reads really well. I didn't feel the needed to slap that hard in the class or to make my training partner slap me or anything like that.
You have to understand, though, when I have free time and I do look to go around to make visits, there is a specific reason I'm not coming down this way. When I'm like, is he doing? I'm not going to see him until after December.
Right. For the slap, for the slap pass.
Right? I don't want to give you that opportunity for you to have that ambiguous gray area of like, well, Raph, it's very helpful to me if I can hit you.
Right.
You can't hit me back because I have to keep everything.
I can't get cut.
You can't
get cut. So I need you for a punching bag as I pass your guard. And if I can't pass, that's okay. I'll just slap.
Man, and I always think of that in terms of what that affords people whose games are already very heavy pressure filled. So you have a very quick and pressure filled style, then saying, all right, now add this into it without the specificness of having to say punch. And even within a wrestling context, there's only so far you can go. There's not a cage parameter. So the wrestling does change a little bit in how you do it.
A little bit. So there's no cage to pin against the wall. There's no like other barrier to where they can pin you or slap you. And even the fact that there's those knees or elbows or kicks, you know, it's like, it's kind of what you said earlier. I still get kind of like that little bit of a fix, almost MMA, not quite, because I'm not going to take as much damage, but it's the in between of jiu-jitsu and MMA. And I really like it. I think my style like it is kind of perfect for that.
When you're doing it, do you miss MMA in those rounds or in those moments?
Not really, honestly, because like you taking straight headshots in boxing or kickboxing. If you zig when you should have zag, you're getting head kicked or kneed or elbow, and that stuff. Like, it was cooler when I was younger and I was really had something to prove. But nowadays, it's like you go to head with a headache. Like, you know what that's doing to your head in a couple of years. Sorry. Yeah, your
head is, once you said head, I was like, all right, that's motivated. I want to make sure that it's not blocking the appropriate size dome.
Yeah, my very well-built head to protect me from strikes. So that's another reason I think I'm perfect for this sport, because of my big ass head.
I also want to bring this up because people can't see this right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and get a photo of it. But who is joining us down here, sir?
My best friend. He is a husky. His name is Helio.
Okay. How'd you come up with that name?
My girlfriend actually came up with him, Helio. She's like, what if we name him Helio? And I was like, that sounds freaking perfect. It may be some other lineages may not like that, but that's okay.
I think they could respect the fact that you're giving a shout out to the past.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't.
The roots.
They don't own the name.
Right.
Wait, do they? Someone double check that. Let me make sure that they don't own that name.
They might say they do.
100%. I just know that they have very good lawyers. So in my head, I'm like, wait.
I don't know if you want to get involved with that.
I don't. I'm not. But okay. Can we discuss, though, you were concerned that Helio was going to be here.
Yeah.
The Helio is here.
Right.
Has been here the whole time we've been doing this thus far in.
It's been great, too.
But you'll notice, is he very protective? Because he's literally like by your side, posting up like, don't ask the wrong questions. Nobody bother. My dad up here. Like, is that the case that you find with him?
I think, because I literally take him everywhere, man. I take him to the gym every day. So I think that, I think it's just my bodyguard. I think he's just like, hey man, make sure you make him look good. You know, he's all, we're a team here. Me and this guy right here. So make sure he looks good.
Because I saw Helio pull up here and I thought, okay, he might be that cute dog cameo.
Right.
And he's like, I don't want to appear on camera.
No, he's just
I'm going to post up right next to dad. And I'm just going to hang here for the rest of the interview.
He's going to let you know how you make me look cool.
I mean, I can only do as much as I can as an interviewer.
Like 22 more minutes, probably.
Absolutely.
Like
I mean, I'm just staring at it, you know? So if people ever wonder, okay, it's 20 minutes. Okay. If people are wondering why there may be like a dead moment in the interview, it might be because of that. And normally I have plenty of things to say, but we'll keep on this little progress here. So, talk to me about this. Tell me about the travel that goes there because, you know, you are traveling around. Right. You've definitely gone to different states to compete. Right. This is a different kind of travel.
Right.
So you don't have to go as early per se.
Right.
But it is international.
Right.
And then by the time you get there, it's a whole infrastructure that they've built now for EBI and CJJ to be down there. Right. So what is that like as you're approaching that infrastructure there, sir?
Cool. So like, I didn't need to get there that early, but I actually got there like the Wednesday before. Me and my cornerman, Isaac, got there before because I wanted to get some training in. I knew there'd be a little bit of jet lag there too. And I just wanted to feel good. Pardon me, just being there. But once I got there, like the day before, day of and all that, everything was, it was really nice, actually. The whole process was beautiful. They put you in a really nice hotel. They shuttle you everywhere. You're on the hotel strip. Even getting to the event, it was pretty awesome.
So what were you doing? Like, where did you end up going to train and where were you located and what were you doing?
So at first, the first couple of days, we were actually in like the Cancun, the city. I'm not sure what the city is exactly, but we were right down the street from 10th Planet Cancun. Shout out to them for being, you know, hosting me and giving me great rounds leading up to the event. But we were like probably a 10-minute drive away from it. We had a rental car. We'd go to the 8:30 a.m. class. Go to the beach, chill, relax, get some food. And I believe it was a 6:30 p.m. class too. And it was the same night that the UFC Invitational was on. So we trained and we just watched in the gym afterward. And it was a really good time, really great gym, good vibes. And then the next day, kind of wash, rinse, repeat, same thing. And then the next day after that was a seminar where the instructor got his black belt there. So
that's sick.
That's always dope to see, right? Because he's been training for a long time. Eddie was there, Master Vic was there. A couple people got their blue and their purples, which in my opinion, blue belt was the coolest belt because it's like you're getting branded. You know, someone's like saying, "Hey, you're part of the team." You know, and it's like I don't know, that was the coolest belt for me. So it was just overall just a great time. The water was great, the beach was great, the energy was great, the training was great. It was just overall a great process.
That's really cool to be a part of that. What was it like watching the UFC Invitational? Because I imagine seeing another event happen before you get to compete probably gets you pretty hype.
It gets me super fired up. But before it would get me a little nervous because sometimes you can kind of like think, oh, hopefully nothing bad happens to me. Hope that bad things happen to me. But it just gets you super pumped. And the fact that they're even using like Eddie Bravo's basically same system, sub only, 8 minutes, 3 rounds of OT. So it's basically the same system we use in EBI and all. So it's actually pretty fucking exciting to see that. I know it's the ones you asked, but it was just cool to see that same system in there for the sub-only rule set. So I think it's kind of cool thing. I think we're at like a bubble bursting point for grappling. I think it's going to be pretty dope.
Well, because they're also plugging it the week before on the UFC pay-per-view.
Right.
And on ESPN. And they're like, hey, everybody, there's this thing called grappling. It's like a third of what you see here tonight.
Exactly.
Go check that out.
Exactly.
And you're thinking to yourself, you're like, oh, on that. Because we're also on UFC Fight Pass. They're going to plug us this weekend. Oh, and they are plugging you guys. And they're saying like, hey, this weekend, y'all like seeing slaps? Join us this Sunday.
Slaps, yeah. So I just do whist slaps, whist strikes. You know? It's your opportunity to see that. And then also the quintet style too. They've never had a combat jiu-jitsu with the quintet style where the winner stays in.
And I love that Eddie in the middle of the event, when they were asking him about it, he was putting over the OG quintet. And was saying like, yeah, I mean, that was cool, but nobody had done this yet. Right. So why not combine the two? Now, obviously, you kind of see the progression of it because I'm a huge fan of quintet. I know we make such an emphasis on the solo nature of when you're out there.
Right.
This changes things. What did that feel like to you? And what was the team temperature like before you even go into match number one?
Nate Orchard had a pretty good talk with us before we even got on the mats. He's all like, I'm gonna say this like the most unselfishly as possible. When you go out there, like, yeah, it's just you by yourself, but also like you have a whole team behind you. So don't just think about yourself and think about the team. You know, if that means having to play the game a certain way, then you have to play the game a certain way. You know, like if you get down one or automatically, you're already down a point. That's not good. So if you have to put aside your pride with certain people, maybe past matches you've had, just play the game correctly. And it was kind of like, okay, I think it got us all on the same mind, the same wavelength kind of thing. I think we all were able to do our parts really well.
And you could see a lot of you guys responding to that kind of like, hey man, he's been here before. We know that we can have trusted him to have the experience factor. And then did you all start to see kind of what your specializations were? Because you're all familiar with each other, especially within the system.
Right.
But it's a different beast when you're like, oh, it's all of us and all of our talents against this team.
Team Mexico or B.
And then this team. So did you guys start signaling that out? And how much was strategy playing a role as you guys, even before you see what's happening?
To be honest, we were in a group chat, but we weren't really communicating that much, not as much as we should have been, in my opinion. To be honest, so like we kind of all were kind of doing our own separate camps, kind of leading up to it. But I think once we got there, we were kind of deciding the order and all that.
It's okay. Yeah. No, people can't see. There are going to be some people joining in the background, so don't worry about that. I just like the fact that he's like, no, hold on, like, dude, it's perfectly fine. It's what a gym is.
All right, that's true. That's true. But yeah, we didn't do too much training up together. We decided to order like the Wednesday before, when we kind of thought about taking like Nate and Sam, the heavy hitters in the back, and then we kind of wanted Ben up front because Ben's got a weird game, you know. I mean, Ben can surprise you and take out 2 or 3 people, and we wanted Jordan up front too, just for a good opener. But yeah, the strategy mostly I think was just we talked about it the week of basically. But I gotta say we weren't as like I think as diligent as we could have been.
Sure, but I mean, so I'm a huge planner.
Yeah.
I'm pretty meticulous about organization and making sure things work a certain way. Yeah. But when I look at stuff like that, you can only plan so much for that kind of event.
Right.
At a certain point, the beast goes into itself.
Right.
So that's why I was kind of like, oh man, yeah, I get it. I was curious on how that played out for you guys.
We actually, the way it went, it couldn't have played out better if you think about it, just because it went Jordan, Ben, me, Sam, and Nate. And the Portland boys ended up not even going. So they opened up the first 2 rounds and actually played perfectly against B team, because they started off with, I think, Ethan and Damien, or no, I'm sorry, Fabian and Ethan.
Yep.
And Ethan's a heavy hitter. He could wipe out a whole team by himself, you know. And the fact that he linked up with Nate, I think, was huge.
Yeah.
Because they've already had a match. They were aware of each other's games. Nate could play the game perfectly, you know, and do his part.
So let's get into the matches, because you don't go first.
No.
So that means you get to watch a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do temper people, because you can watch other people's matches when it's just you solo.
Right.
So it's easy to get caught up in that momentum, that adrenaline, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I have to go now.
I'm up too. Yeah, it's one of those things like, I was watching Jordan, and like I was number 3. So when I was watching Jordan, I was like, all right, you can keep your sweats on, just kind of relax a little bit, depending on how this first match goes. But then when it got to Ben, I was like, oh, I got to get my sweats. You could be out there in the next minute or 2, depending on how quick this match goes. But Ben actually took a minute. You know, Ben took out 3 guys. So I got a good 15-minute break before that, but it was good. I typically like to make sure I'm warm before I even go out there. So I'm doing like squats, split squats. I'm taking shots and all that, because I don't want to go out there cold. I want to go out there with my heart spiked a little bit. So I make sure that when I'm close to being on deck, I've already had broken a sweat and I'm ready. So even if I go out there, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I make sure of it.
I mean, you looked pretty calm and you looked in your environment.
Yeah.
Tell me about your first match.
First match. So like I could just feel the energy right off the bat, right from Jordan's match and Ben's match. The Team Mexico, like when they were slapping Ben, they were looking over and like winking at us, and smiling at us, and that was getting me like pumped and fired up. Like, oh my God, I cannot wait to get out there and fucking rip this guy's head off. Just because like I take pride in being part of a team. You know, it's one thing to go on a tournament by yourself and it's like, oh, I'll see you next round, motherfucker. Yeah. But it's like, but it's also like when it's a team event and you see your boy getting slapped and it's like, oh dude, dude, like part of me hopes he knocks you out, you know, so you
Yep.
lose and get out. But also, I kind of want to crack at you too.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get my hands on you.
Yep.
So when I was seeing them kind of smile and wink and at us, and it's like they're kind of playing the mental warfare, I was like, oh, I cannot wait to get out there. I cannot wait to get out there and get my hands on you, because it's not just jiu-jitsu. I can slap you too. I can put some pain on you from guard.
I also want to ask this: did all of Team Mexico had to qualify as well?
To be honest, I don't know.
So that was the part I couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
Where I was like, okay, I knew that they had qualifiers all around the world and all that sort of stuff, and then they had like CJJ Mexico that comes in. And when I saw that, I wondered if that was part of the mental warfare as well, because you had all these people who, because they qualified, they're like, okay, we see how we are on this. Right. Some of these other guys just got asked. They didn't have to do it.
Didn't have to win
now
anything.
We've got to play a certain kind of game to get under their skin, just so that even if they are maybe a little bit better that day, or maybe they have a little more experience, we're kind of throwing them off their game. Just
by looking at the lineup originally and who I saw and then who actually was out there, I don't think so, because I know that the guys originally, they weren't like they weren't winning. I saw them in some of like the open saying like Texas, or I seen them on other scenes, but I didn't see them win the whole thing, so I don't think so. I could be wrong. I think the last guy, Enrique Souza, I think he was a pretty well versed in like the open and the nationals and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think he had to win anything to get on that team. But then again, you know, I'm sure that thing was planned months prior, and we even had a couple dropouts too. So it might have been the winners initially, and then kind of as people drop out, you just kind of fill them in as you can.
Okay. Again, I think you, like I, were kind of looking at it like, I don't know exactly how this is working. I just know they're the guys.
Yeah, they're the guys.
I know they're the guys that you got to beat to go on to the next team.
100%.
And were you guys, I think you guys were second after B team, right?
After Team Alpha Male and B team. I try not to watch any of the first matches, because like I've noticed that like my heartbeat gets up, I start kind of getting excited, kind of get that adrenaline dumping. Like I like to save all my energy until I'm out there if I can. But even when I was going to the bathroom, I kind of saw a little bit of Ethan versus Missouri Takanaki, I think. And dude, that guy was doing his job perfect. He was surviving like a cockroach. He was getting whacked on. I think I saw Ethan just grab his head at one point and was just ripping on it, you know? And then, but yeah, it looked like Alpha Male did their job. They gave B team a hard first round. And that only benefited us in the second round, because all five, I think, went. I think only four went. They went up to Dorian, and then they went. But yeah, that's different energy expansion.
But there was a real moment where Alpha Male was kind of like holding the line, where I go, they shouldn't be holding it this. I mean, you know that they're fighters. You afford them that. But when you take out Ethan to a draw, you've done your job.
Exactly.
So when that happens, you think to yourself like, oh, that might change things, because
we're in this.
Now this is a playing field where, okay, if Ethan's out, then you see Damien's out, you go, they put their two heaviest hitters there. It's a baseball lineup strategy where you go, okay, this guy gets on third, this guy gets a double, but their home run hitters are out.
Exactly. So you have the bases loaded, but you can't do anything with it.
So that's why I was watching, and there was a unique thing. So I invited somebody to come train, and I had it on the background. My biggest reservation this whole time was that they were going to start slapping, or like they would see, because I'm like, normally I'll have stuff up in the background, nobody cares, but like they're kind of like paying attention. They're like, oh, okay. I was like, and the second they got mount, even though there were no strikes, you just see that glimmer of like, you know, I can't let them have this mount for too long, because they're getting ideas from this. And I think he stole that back take that you saw from you guys up there. So we were watching, and we were definitely paying attention. And there were moments where we would stop in the middle of the roll and just be like, whoa, hold up. Oh, that's dope. Oh, look at that. But by the time it started getting to the finals, we were kind of winding down, and we were watching it and we were processing it. But obviously you guys advance, you go on, things look well. What happens though when you guys get that moment, that time to go back and kind of recalibrate?
We actually didn't get too much of a time to moment, because as soon as because we went second, right? As soon as we won as soon as I won the last match and got there, they had a special match, and then we were up right away. So it was like literally like maybe, and I think that it was Lard Anderson versus David Weintraub, and I think Lard arm-triangled him in under 6 minutes, and then we were right back on the match.
Oh, and not just triangled him under 6 minutes, but got the call at the last second.
Like 1 second in, yeah.
And I didn't know what it was, because I had just interviewed him, and I do the same thing that I do with you, where before we say, hey, tell me what you got coming up, all that sort of stuff. I was like, Lard, do you have anything coming up? And he goes, no.
Oh, chilling.
And I go, are you sure? And he's like, no, it's going to be a pretty quiet end of the year. He gets on there and I text him so fast, like, you bald-faced liar.
How dare you?
How dare you? He's like, dude, they just told me at the last second. I was like, you made me look like a fool on my show. I asked you a question.
Well, unfortunately, Jordan Worth tore his knee in the first match, so Thien Lu stepped up, and also props to Thien Lu. I mean, he survived Damien. He also did his job and survived Damien Anderson. Damien Anderson, I think, is one of the best guys in that rule set.
Absolutely,
he hits fucking hard. He's got great jiu-jitsu, and he's nasty.
I think the idea that he is one of the few people to have a knockout via slaps,
says a lot.
it says a lot. It definitely puts you at a level of heavy competition,
right?
But now he's one of those people who has elevated himself, not just through good training. His jiu-jitsu is already good. Right. There's not an issue there. But good jiu-jitsu and won and been to the dance before gives you a certain kind of experience that you're like, oh, no, that's a tough guy to go up against.
Yeah, exactly.
If you pull that card, there is a part of you that knows, all right, I gotta draw this guy out.
I was thinking that too, but honestly, I think that it'd be a good. I'd be a good matcher. I really want to get a matching sometime in the future. Personally, I think that I would do a lot better against Damien than Ethan. Personally, I think Ethan's good, and I've got a lot of respect for him. But I think that my skills match up better against Damien personally.
That's true. Would you entertain a jiu-jitsu, a CJJ match with him?
Absolutely.
Okay, because so I feel like his jiu-jitsu game and your jiu-jitsu game, fun.
Right.
I don't know what it's like for CJJ.
Right.
Here's why. He has good slapping experience. His jiu-jitsu skill opens up a lot of good avenues. You fought before.
Right.
So in that sense, you know what you know about both of your jiu-jitsu games, but that X factor is like, I legitimately can't tell you how it would go other than, yeah, I'd watch that. Okay.
I think I'd nullify a lot of his stuff, and I think I could catch him in a scramble personally.
And that's, again, why styles make matches.
Exactly.
So that's why when you're saying it, I was like, if you say both, then we have a lot more potential.
Right.
If you say one, I'm like, well, I mean, we can make a regular super fight happen, but
I think he's the man in CJJ personally. He's fucking, he's got, like you said, one of the only guys to have a knockout in CJJ.
Yep.
So I think it'd be a good matchup, and also it'd be fun. It's always fun to test yourself too.
Yeah. So that happens. Let's talk about your chaotic finals round, because it tested every one of my reactions that I could have for a match that you're in, where it went from to oh, I think we got this. This is a wrap to what's happening here to okay, we're gonna go all the way.
Yeah.
So you went every possible feasible place, and you know that it's kind of hinging off of your performance to make this either happen or go to the next version.
Right. I didn't feel any of the pressure, which is kind of weird. I really thought that I was, and even in the moment, I feel like I was calming my team down more than they were calming me down, kind of thing. I feel like, oh no, I got this. Like I'm the guy. Like I got this kind of thing. Like, but Dorian, man, he put a pace on me the last match for 8 minutes, and he legit fucked me up. Like he passed my guard. He had me in turtle. He was slapping me, had me in a face crank, almost Kimura, a couple of things. But once again, it's like I know that like if he doesn't sub me, none of this means anything. Yep. So if I can just survive and get to the next part of the game, which is OT, I'll be okay. I have so much more experience than B Team even knew I had, and being in the 10-plan system, Eddie harps on OT all the time. You got to listen to him. He's all, can we all agree that drilling RNCs and arm bars on a daily basis are good? Can we all just agree on that? And it's like, yeah, I can agree on that. Yeah,
absolutely.
So it's like, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
So when it was me, it's like, I got him. As long as our team chose the right person, we're going to be okay. Like, I know Dorian splits his time between wrestling and jiu-jitsu. He's not doing a lot of OT. Like, and even in like, maybe they thought that because in the rule set, or I'm sorry, in regulation, he was messing me up to where I didn't get out. But it's like, also like, I don't mind if he's on my back in combat jiu-jitsu, like, and I'm laying on him. I don't want to be in bottom out. Yep. If I get out of the back and go to bottom out, he's just going to you know? So I didn't particularly mind as long as I had both hands on top of his hands. I just got to get to, just got to survive, basically.
I mean, yeah, it sounds fun for you.
Yeah.
It's really different watching it from this side because under a different rule set, a different format, that's not necessarily the place to be.
No.
But you also know you're not taking any damage.
Right.
Okay. And then you start putting the overtime elements together.
Right.
And this is where things, I think, become interesting because some people are familiar with EBI overtime. They just don't know maybe how it works in this particular format where it's a team. Once that team is happening, you see him, you think to yourself as an audience member, oh, they're going to call Mike. Yeah. They're 100% going to call Mike.
He destroyed me in regulation kind of thing, and they don't know who I am. They're not going to pick Nate. They're not going to pick Ben. Sam and Thien did their jobs regulation to get fucked up too bad. So, and I'm the most tired. Yeah. So why wouldn't they pick me? Strategically, it's a good move, but I do this all the time. This is another weekend for me.
Did you and the team expect that?
Yeah. I didn't even walk off the mats. Yeah, I knew. And then they were talking to me and they're giving me all this advice in the world going, hey, for back, do this, for armbar, do this. I'm like, okay, yeah. You know, I'm just like, yeah, I know. I got this. I'll be fine. You know, like they knew it was going to be me. Everyone knew.
Did you guys, in doing that, how long did it take for you to then say, we want him back for this?
They probably decided before I even walked back between the regulation match and OT. We were talking about it prior. They were like, who do we pick? And I'm like, well, definitely not Ethan. Definitely not Damien. Definitely not Kieran. Those guys have all won high-level sub-only tournaments, possibly using OT sometimes. Yep. I had a match with Fabian prior at Mike Wilson's submission-only series. Yep. He beat me by ride time, so like, do not pick him. Yep. So I was like, that leaves Dorian. That's it. Pick Dorian. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, absolutely. So we got the matchup we needed, and it all went how it should have went.
Well, not only did it go how it was supposed to go, but it was super exciting and super entertaining. So there is that. With that being said, you know, obviously things turn out where you're pretty exhausted. You don't get much time to actually reset and rest.
No, yeah.
So you didn't leave the mat.
No, not at all.
Now what are you starting to think when you go, okay, they're going to go back? Do you know that you're going first, or do you know that they're going first? Or is it a coin flip, or how does that part work?
I believe it was a coin flip. I knew that I wouldn't get the choice because he dominated me so much in regulation. I knew that they're going to offer, like, what do you want, offense or defense? I was very surprised he picked defense first, but I was like, cool, whatever, it works. And then they asked me what I want. I'll take the back. I'm going to start off on a good control time. So, I mean, I was ready. I surprisingly wasn't that tired, even though he beat my ass all of regulation. I was like, you'll be fine. Just scramble. You'll be fine. Just don't quit. It sounds stupid. I was thinking of the Hodger Gracie. Listen to him. He's all, one thing I was so proud of in my life was never quitting. And so there's so many times you can quit, but just don't quit. And that's all I was thinking about during regulation. Just don't quit. just don't give him an easy out, you know?
I love the fact that you simplified that to its easiest core, which is like, you know, just don't quit.
Just don't quit. Just don't quit.
You literally took the Derek Lewis of just stand up.
Yeah, exactly.
Version of mentality where I'm like, okay, sounds easy.
Yeah, just don't quit.
Like, bro, I've had people that have been like, oh, I should waste this dude. Oh, they're beating me now. Uh-oh. Just don't quit.
Yeah.
How am I in this arm triangle? Yeah. That's not good.
I mean, that's not like my definition of jiu-jitsu. Normally, don't quit. Obviously, I want to submit the person, but sometimes you got to play the game.
Well, also, they didn't roll in a high pace and stakes arena where if you don't make the right decision, your team suffers for it. Right. So it's not just you. And as Nathan had mentioned up there, there's going to be some give and take as to how you would normally roll.
Right.
For the greater good of the team, and how are you guys going to pull it together as a team to pull out this win? So when they do that, it is both, hey man, we know the situation, but we do trust you.
Right.
We know you can pull this out because our system does this. We know you do this. Yeah. You're a brick. Having said that, get out there. Here's some advice. So now that first period goes, okay, what happens next?
In the second round of OT, I once again, so the first round I control him. He gets out in 30 seconds. Bottom of the first, I get out in like 7 seconds. We go to the second round, I should say. And then second round, he actually makes some like rookie mistakes. I could tell he was kind of fresh. Like he was like turning the wrong way. Like he could have made a couple better plays, but he actually gave me a couple opportunities to take the neck. Like at one point, like if you just would have kept rocking to the left, he might have got his head to the mat and I might have had to switch off to an arm triangle. But momentarily he looks to his right and that sinks my wrist underneath his throat. I don't get the choke at first, but then I'm able to make an adjustment and follow him and just stay on the back. He just showed that he doesn't have enough experience there. He made a couple of just mistakes, but he's 16, man. He would beat the fuck out of 16-year-old Mike John, you know?
But also like it's just, you're not saying it as a, hey, this dude sucks.
No,
it's more in that situation. it was a mistake that gave you an opening,
right?
And you're gonna take that opening.
Yeah, I had to. I mean, I say I wasn't nervous, but you know, I'm still feeling the weight of the moment. You know,
yeah.
I'm still feeling like, yo, this is 50 G's for the whole team.
And he had sufficiently proven that his jiu-jitsu was very good,
super good,
the entire time. Yeah. So again, it's not a knock on, oh, look at this joker over here, this loser 16-year-old
passed my guard 6 times. Yeah, no, not saying that at all.
When you look at it though, and you realize, all right, that is that opening. I'll tell you the one thing I saw, which is I know your goon strength, and I know I was like, oh, that chin it might be strong. Yeah. That's a hard amount to sustain.
It's a lot of pressure to get out
because it's coming underneath you to the point where you probably will have to tap, or you have to do something significantly a long time before.
Right. 100%.
So that's where I knew. I was like, ooh, this is going to get dicey. And, you know, fortunately though, for you, it happens, but now it's not done.
No, he gets his rebuttal, you know, and I think like, one of the cooler matches I've seen was Ben Eddy versus Kevin Ma at the qualifiers in OT. Kevin Ma triangles Ben in like, I think like a minute 33. Ben Eddy twisters him in a minute 25.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. You know, it's like a penalty kick kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm thinking like, you could probably just hold on and relax, but why not make a statement and get out and prove that you can get out? So yeah. I just do what I do every day in the room. Just made sure I got a little disconnection and rolled through and got away.
You really did. And I have to ask, because the one thing that's hard for me for TV purposes, and I always think as a producer, is that you can't quite celebrate after you get this dope rear naked choke. So for TV purposes, it kind of sucks to be like, wait.
Yeah.
And then if you do get out, the celebration isn't the same as it would be after getting that choke.
A minute prior.
It's just kind of like, I've had time to think about it. Yeah. I'm very happy.
Everything sunk in.
Wow, that was really good. My soul is good. So I'm like, I do miss that one thing.
Where it's almost like a golden score kind of rule.
Well, it's just like, it's the rules.
All right.
But for me, I'm like, oh, I want to see the reaction from the dude who got that. So instead, you don't even get time to celebrate. You just kind of get up. Okay.
Yeah. But
what are we doing?
If I had to be honesty, whenever I compete, I harp on my guys too. Like I really hate when I see people just like lose their shit, even over a big win. Now, 80cc, that's you win the absolute and you're a 45er. I might give you a little bit of leeway there, you know. But or even 80cc just in general, that's fucking amazing. But like what I hate is when people just like lose control and they like rip their rash guard off and they scream like everyday pojada. Yeah, it's just like, bro, like I think you've been here before.
It's hard for me because I walk a line.
Right.
As a TV guy, I need something, but I'm also in the camp of where you're at, which is, all right, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, chill there, big guy, you know?
Like, did you win by an advantage?
Yeah, exactly.
And we're screaming right now?
Yeah, exactly.
And there was somebody who I know, a guy who's a very, very solid grappler, purple belt. He won, but it was a DQ. So they give it to the other guy. This other guy's dancing and parading around. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, even at my most competitive nature, and I can't say it because I wasn't there, I don't fathom a version of myself that's screaming when people saw me tap. And again, wasn't there, can't say I wouldn't. But from what I am seeing, you just look at it and you go, this doesn't look right. There's something not okay about it.
We know who really won.
Yeah, well, the other thing is like, well, the streets know who won.
Exactly.
So you think to yourself, you're like, all right, I'm going to, like, you know what I would probably do? I'd wear the medal. I'd like do the photos. I'd like go in the back and be like, oh God, everybody knows. Everybody saw it.
Yeah.
But my medal's going.
It's going right there next to the gym wall.
Like no one will ever talk to you about it again, except everybody there who saw it or who saw it on internet television. They're like, we know.
It's like I had one of my boys from No-Gi Worlds, my old training partners. He got second place and he was all mad. And I was like, why are you all mad, fool? You got second place, made it to the finals. Like, good job, dude. You did great. He's all, I got a bye to the finals. And I was like, oh. I'm so sorry, dude. Like, just go to the absolute division. I'm sorry, man. Like, because normally, like, second place, like that silver medal's like, fuck yeah, I did it. But it's like, oh, you got a fast express ticket there and still didn't get the results you want. I'm sorry,
dude.
man.
Hey, listen, you know what? People buy fast passes at Disneyland all the time and nobody gives them harm.
That's true.
This is a dude who just got gifted a fast pass. So hate the game. Hate the fact that other people didn't sign up. That's the bigger issue.
That's probably true.
IBJJF.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I wonder why more people don't sign up.
You know what? Here's the fun part is I had put up a post about the IBJJF not credentialing people. And I don't know who tagged them or who got the person, but I guess the director of media like sent a note being like, if you really wanted to talk to us, you should just send a note. And I was like, oh, okay. And he comes in and he just starts explaining his perspective. And I'm like, hey, man, yeah, there's a lot of really good freelancers. And he's like, well, you know, don't take it personally. And I was like, I have not talked about it publicly in 4 or 5 years.
Right.
I'm just saying you're telling other freelancers no. Also, not for nothing. Like, there are some reasons people don't compete for you. This is not helping your case.
At all. At all. You're making it so hard to compete for you guys.
So, like, doing my best to not talk crap about you.
But you're making it hard.
But you showed up on my post. So I'm going to do, and by the end of it, it was just like, okay, well, okay, fine, kind of a thing. And I go, you know what people have to understand, especially if you cover this sport. So yours is competing in the sport. Mine is covering in the sport.
Right.
From your perspective, you want to go there.
Yeah.
You want to go where the good competition is. You have no issue with that.
I would love to, yeah.
My qualm is like, I want to be able to cover it in a fair way to both you and me.
Right.
And if I don't feel that's there, I don't tell the athletes, don't compete for them. I just go, I could understand if you didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm not going to tell you not to because I want you to go where the competition is. Your boy comes in, he's like thinking like, oh, I've trained really hard for this IBJJF. Oh man, I'm going to go in and wait, nobody showed up?
There's 3 people in our division, bro. Congrats.
Well, I guess this medal means nothing.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's harder. And I would love to have that root for them, sort of like, hey, no, go compete for them. It's like, well, one thing you might have to do is make it more appealing for them to compete. So that's kind of the bum out part.
And also easier. Like, I'm pretty sure to them, I'm not even like a real black belt to them. I have to get like certain points. I have to pay them for a couple of years, and then they'll recognize me once I pay my fees.
It's still like, the most ridiculous thing in the world.
It doesn't make any sense. It's like, I feel like I compete with any of those guys. It's like, I would love to be.
Who did somebody, I think on the post, you could see that this is the thing I hate about social media, is that I'll put up a post being like, hey, I'm just talking about the application process.
Right.
Okay. I get people coming in, they're like, and they don't recognize me as a black belt. I was like, well, okay, that's a separate issue, but you're not wrong. It's just, it's not the issue I feel credible to speak about because I've never applied for it because I like my money. And
you're not missing out, believe me.
But then you bring up a legitimate point, which is, I am a black belt. Apparently your filing system says I'm not
legitimate. And
I got to go get some guy to sign off on it who's probably never seen me before.
Vinny Magalhaes.
And guess what? If that is the case, maybe that identifies a slight problem that some dude is just past checking you, as opposed to maybe the people at your gym who say, hey, do you want the best competition? Cool, you should go.
Exactly.
I got to sign a paper. Okay, cool. I'm glad to do that. Did it for you. Right. Did that go through? Nope. You got to wait 3 months. Great. Then you got to go compete at 19 other tournaments to get points.
Yeah, to get points, yeah.
So again, what I want people to take away from this, because my time on the clock's been done, in case people were wondering, I can be the mean version of myself if I can just make this something. See, look, 44 minutes, and I have not said a bad thing. I could have been mean, but I chose not to. And if you want to say that I'm being a dick about this, let me point this out. It's feedback. So that's how you can tell it's not personal. It's just me saying like, hey, listen, you want people to compete. I want to see good competition. I still watch and go to your events. Take the feedback, make it a little easier for people to compete, and maybe you'll see good competition there. And maybe people won't close out.
Yeah, just maybe. I don't know about that though. The last one though, it's been a thing for a couple of years.
It's just it is hard for me to cover it and not do jokes.
Yeah, well,
and
you're also a funny guy.
I'm all right, but I tell people, I'm like, you know what the thing is, you can be a dick about your humor, or you can do it to illustrate a point. Right. And usually it's like, we don't really insult people that we don't know, thus you. But in this perspective, you look at people and you go, oh God, yeah, no, this is a dumb rule. We're going to make fun of you. Right. And if you can't take the joke, then maybe you're taking it personally. So anyway, that concludes the amount of time I will insult the IBJJF, apparently.
Yeah, right.
Let's get back to bigger things, which is What's going on next, man? Whoa. I didn't even get to ask you what it felt like to win, because we muted the celebration. We had a nice jump off conversation about that. What did it feel like to win, man?
Definitely one of the more special moments in my career. I couldn't even believe that I was able to be put in a position to do that and actually deliver to my team. I have so many second place medals, so many just failed attempts, that it was an amazing experience to actually achieve that, but not just for me, but for my team as well. And for 10th Planet, you know, just overall, just being able to be the people to throw on the tournament and still win it and have to go through some adversity was just huge for me. And then being the guy to win it in OT was just, it was amazing.
I felt happy for you immediately.
Right.
Then secondarily, I was so happy for Orchard.
Right.
Because that look on his face when he got to go deliver it to Eddie and just be like, we did it. And you go, you know, that's so fun, because when you put together these events, these moments, you don't know exactly how it's going to play out.
Right.
So obviously, you know, we're rooting for our friends and we hope they do well. And if they don't do well, you kind of go like, no big deal.
Right.
For yours, though, I was like, oh, I'm so happy for Mike. That's awesome. He got to be that MVP, and you got to hear people say that.
Right.
Like, especially if you go back and listen to it, Brandon wasn't wrong. Like, it was part of the reason why I'm like, you know, I could interview anybody I want to, but you really were such a critical, integral part to that win that I was like, no, it makes sense that we chat again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Having said that, then you see Orchard. And then you put it together and you're like, dude, talk about silver medals.
Right.
This has been a guy who's publicly said, like, you know, I
Six finals.
I compete forever, man. None of this bothers me.
Right.
Until it does. And it just, the physicality of seeing the second place, you have to be able to get past that. So seeing those moments come together where you said, oh, I didn't imagine this moment would feel so nice and look so nice. It did.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible. You know, all of a sudden I feel like all those second place medals just went away for a second.
Yeah.
But they're still there. They're still a good reminder.
I mean, but they push you to the next thing. And more importantly, you couldn't have accomplished this one thing if you didn't have those moments.
That's true. You know, a lot of people think you just walk on the stage and you get first place, or you just do it. But, you know, I'm sure behind that goal, there's a lot of seconds, thirds, fourths, even fifths that we don't even want to talk about.
Yeah. And it's hard because, you know, as a coach, when you're working with these guys, it's hard to take those as not like those progress markers as anything other than sometimes defining your worth or what you're good at.
Right.
And when in actuality, it's like, oh, you just missed it. But okay, let's make corrections. And it feels like if it happens at a certain amount of time, it can define you.
Right.
Where I like to tell people, I'm like, yo, the wins are good for you, obviously.
Right.
But the losses make you way better.
That's true.
And it's hard to put that into context because everybody's like, well, if you don't win, cool, then you suck. And it's like, well, great, but you could easily become coasting and just not get better.
Right.
Because you don't get a push.
Right.
And then the moment it does happen to you, that's when you get these top tier athletes being like, I need a sports psychologist. What happened to me?
Yeah, exactly.
So everything has its ebb and flow, and it's really important to know the strengths and weaknesses of both of those perspectives.
No, I think I heard you do a podcast with Keith, and he's like, I'm kind of learning how to scale when to be mad at myself kind of thing. Before, he would get really mad every time he lost, but it's like, sometimes you got to think about it. You know, I might be a 60-pound grappler in a 170-pound tournament, you know, kind of thing like that. Or I may be a 6 kilo grappler in the absolute of ADCC, where it's like, you kind of got to learn how to, like, not everything is always that bad. You can't always be mad at yourself that much.
It was hard for me, especially in parts of his journey where I didn't necessarily want to step in.
Right.
But it is something that I feel like I might understand pretty well, given that I've competed. I've competed at a national level, and I've won very big things, and I've lost some stuff.
Right.
And it's hard to explain that to somebody where I go, listen, I'm not in the shit with you, but I know what's happening. And let me walk you through at least what I see is happening.
Right.
And at first, you know, you're just sitting there and be like, you wouldn't understand. You wouldn't know, man. Yeah. Keith really wasn't like that with me. It was just more so like, thank you, but I don't believe you. Like, I can't convince myself.
Yeah, I can't imagine you can relate to this.
And then all of a sudden it becomes like, I think one time I told him, I'm like, you'll understand when you coach more.
Yeah.
Like, because you're coaching now, but you're going to have guys that you're going to coach, and they're going to be so blind that when you go up to them and you're like, shut up and believe me, and like sure as shit, he's coming up to me and he's like, I appreciate that.
Right. Yeah.
And you go, listen, dude, it's not because I think I know more than you. It's just, I don't want you to spend so much of your time there that you don't go to the next thing.
Right.
And I want you to go to the next thing, but you have to learn how to master that. And so even when he's telling me that in the interview, I'm like, thank God. You know, I'm like looking at him and I go, oh, good.
Yeah.
You know, because now he gets to go to a level where he finds peace and happiness in what he's doing.
Right.
So for you, you know, you're obviously, you are older, you know it, but it doesn't mean it will click.
Yeah.
Just because you have the experience doesn't mean it's going to make sense.
Right. Yeah. I still had to go through the experience myself and kind of realize when to let up, when to, like you said, when to scale, when to be really mad at yourself kind of thing. A lot of times it's really not that big a deal. Just on to the next, you know, learn it. Watch tape over and over again, see the mistakes you made, make the adjustments in the room, go to the next competition, show how much you've improved since the last one.
Yep.
That's it. That's all you can do.
And that's the best thing you can do. I always tell people there's a little bit of accountability that you can give yourself, which is the best way to absolve yourself of that person is to go out and win the next thing. Yeah. And yeah, that can work. But I think it's the best agreement you can make to that dude who lost. Right. You know, when you look at them and you're like, oh, no, I know I'll make good on it because I'm going to go correct this or I'm going to get better at it. And that's the way I kind of like tell people when I see it. So it's kind of the weird part where being the person who's not competing and just pulling over somebody, you're like, you're really good at this. I don't understand where you're coming from. Let's talk. And then being like, all right, let's bring fresh pairs of eyes. But in that sense, you got to celebrate. You got to win with your guys. Did you guys do anything? Was there any kind of...
We went to like some kind of Argentine barbecue afterwards. It was, well, first we stopped at a bar and we stopped at a bar and we got some drinks with some people over there. Yeah. And then after that, we went to Argentina barbecue, and it was actually kind of a funny story. Nate, I drove there with my corner, Isaac, and a couple other people, but Nate, Phil Schwartz, Ben Eddy, and Sam Hardy were walking there, and they actually got pulled over by the police just for being out late at night. Oh, no. And they tried to, like, take their passports, I think like Wednesday or something like that. So they ended up having to pay them off like $150 and like to even get through there kind of thing.
Yo, they almost got Mexican police.
Yeah. It was kind of, so we did that. Then we met up and we had a bunch of great meat and drinks, and we just got to reminisce and really like just saturate ourselves in that spiritual moment. But yeah, they got hit by the police.
Well, let's be glad that they didn't lose an OT.
Exactly.
Because that could have been a very bad conversation.
Could have been in the worst, right? Could have been the worst. But luckily, I think Ben had his belt too, so they kind of like that. He was walking around with the belt, which helped out a lot.
What a smart choice, man!
Yeah. No, look,
This is why. Listen, let this be a lesson. Always carry your belt with you. Always. If you win something big, put that around your neck. Put it around your waist.
Show them. Show the world.
Show the world.
And you might get some free shots at the bar. You never know.
And is that a true fact that we can affirm?
100%.
Okay. So you're fairly bitty. Does that affect you or not? Because I think to myself, I've never seen you drunk, so I don't know how you get. But I also know there's not a ton of body fat on you.
There's a fair amount. I just laugh like a fool. I just get more childish. Yeah. I just like, it's just if anything, all my defenses lower. I'm just more of a child than I already am.
Understood. Yeah. All right. Well, let's say congrats on that. What's coming up next for you? Everybody's talking, end of 2022. You're one of my last interviews of the year. What do you see happening, and what do you have coming up in 2023, sir?
Right now, January 14th, I'm going for the Arte Suave card, main event against Manny Moreno. And I also got a couple students on there too, Dominic Lobo and Zach Ferguson. It's always cool just to go compete with my students. I feel like we're sharing like a really cool experience together, and then we can always build off that. The next weekend, a co-main event for Albert Tapia's promotion, Smish on the Shore against Marcos Mendez. I believe he's like a brown belt, like an IBJJF Nogi world champion and Pan Am's champ. So should be a great matchup. I believe it's a 10-minute match with no sub only. So it's like I better catch him in the regulation. Yeah, he didn't want to do sub only, which not surprised. Most IBJJF guys don't want to do sub only. Sure. They don't want to do. I'm sorry, EBIOT, I should say.
Thank you.
Sorry, EBIOT. They'll do sub only, but not EBIOT.
Got it. I was like, wait, when you said no sub only,
I'm sorry.
I had a moment where I was like, is it advantage only match? Because that's my dream match. match. Ooh, can't wait.
No, I'm sorry. It's sub only, but if there's no submission, it's a draw, and there's no OT. I personally like the OT because it's a way to decide a winner without getting like a third person involved, which is basically time, you know?
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, because I knew that if I pushed for it, I'd probably lose the match, I'll be honest.
Understood.
So I was like, I'll just pull back and
you know, the hard part is always that moment when you do the negotiations where you go, if I don't do this, we don't have a match.
Exactly.
So you know what? Fine.
Yeah.
Good challenge for me.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
Stepping out of my wheelhouse. But your game does lend itself very well to that. And it is kind of a good strategic thing if they think they have that advantage going in, because it's like, oh, well, okay, now I've got more points.
Exactly.
Oops, did I win by that?
Yeah.
So there is that. All right, so that's coming up. You're also doing more seminars and teaching right now as well?
Yeah, so I actually have my first seminar January 15th for Oasis Club. And then I have another one, I believe February 15th for 10 Planet Murrieta. This will be my first seminars ever. So I'm super excited for that. I don't think there's a lot of good like guillotine teachers out there, if I had to be honest. No disrespect to anybody, but I just don't think there's a lot of good ones out there. And I'm really excited to just showcase my guillotine with the future seminars. I think I can really have some key details to really like put some guillotines on people. And you can really, whether it's in the getting taken down in the shot process, whether it's snapping on from closed guard, I think I can really enlighten the world of some guillotines.
So this is like a 2-hour seminar?
Yeah, 2-hour seminar. It should be January 15th from 11 to 1, I believe. And then the Murrieta, I think it's February 15th. Don't quote me on that, but also 2 hours there.
So the first 5 minutes will be you showing the technique. What happens for the other hour 55 that you're teaching? And when do you get around to taking the steroids that you use for the goon strength to finish the guillotine?
It's probably the steroids probably before, you know, we're probably in the car beforehand, you know, so I feel pumped to go out there.
Absolutely. You're going to be a moment where everybody lines up and you just go,
yeah, right there. I prefer the butt cheeks, you know, a little more meat back there.
Oh, okay. You know, I wouldn't know.
I'm here to help you. I'm here to enlighten you.
So easy for us to have this conversation and now know. If you didn't know, then you wouldn't do steroids, but we just proved that you did.
And here we are.
Genius.
Here we are.
I want to point this out. How long did that take? I think it's about a full hour.
About an hour. Yeah. No, so, 56 minutes maybe.
58 on that. Let me just say this. Very happy for you, sir. I'm going to give you a chance to go ahead and close out. That is your camera over there. Yes. I'm going to have you look at it in just a moment. But I did want to give you your props because as much foolishness as I give you online, so happy for you to have that great moment and to be able to share it with your team, to put on for your team, and to get a showcase moment where it's going to live on and you're going to go back and watch it later again and again, years and years later.
I already have, unfortunately.
But when you go back and you watch it, you know, you can break it apart for what it is, but you'll never forget what the moment is.
Right.
And I definitely wanted to commemorate that with an interview here today. But it was definitely one where you can always tell my reactions when I'm watching it, because when I have to do the interview like this and I go, all right, talk to me about that moment. You were stuck here. All right. Now tell me when you get this goon rear naked choke, because I know what you can do.
Right.
It comes from that place of that's what I was thinking. That's what I was going through when I watched it. And I definitely thought that would make for a good interview.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Of course. All right, man. Here's where it is. Look at that camera. That is your camera. Go ahead and thank whoever you want to thank for whoever made your year great and whoever helped you to get prepared and sponsors and all that jazz, sir.
I just want to thank 10th Shank. I want to thank 10th.
You're going to shank some people?
I'm going to shank the
please
entire
don't.
Right in the bathroom. I want to thank 10 Planet Orange. I only train here. I only ever come to this school. All my success and all my failures and all that are just mostly success this year, thank God, but are because of you guys. I only train here. I train here morning. I train here night. I have the best training partners in the world. I want to thank Andy Balmore and Ron Turner, KCL said, for giving me the chance to be a teacher here. For a while, I thought I was stuck in the salt mines at Chili's. I was a bartender for 10 years. And at one point I considered, like, did I mess up in life? Because I'm stuck here serving alcoholics drinks for years. And now I didn't feel like I had a purpose. And now I feel like I do. I get to train every day. I get to build monsters. I get to literally live my dream. So just thank you to those three. Thank you to my team. Thank you to my girlfriend. Thank you to my mom, my grandma, everyone who supports me and helps me out. Our Life CBD, best CBD in the business. Knockout Bakery, best meal prep in the business. Just thank you everybody so much. You guys are the best.
And I want to I want to double check and ask this. So last time we did the interview, you were still at Chili's, right?
Yeah.
So since then, you've been able to now translate full time to doing this.
All I do is this.
That's amazing.
No more Chili's.
Thank God.
This, privates, maybe odd jobs here and there for Christmas times, just to make extra money.
But your privates are stacked all the time.
Yeah.
I see that you're busy. Like every time I see you put updates, I see you be like, "Hey, I got privates at this time." Already gone.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's incredible. Once again, I didn't think it was ever really possible because I thought I messed up and I thought I was stuck at Chili's forever. But luckily, I was given a huge opportunity. I've been able to make the most out of it, and I still want to make more out of it if I can.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know that you messed up as much as the sport just wasn't there yet.
Right.
And obviously, there's always a way you can turn it out. But on a mass level, for people to be able to just teach and live off of teaching and doing jiu-jitsu and competing in jiu-jitsu, now you're at a point where you've built a clientele, you've done good work. You now got a championship like that. That's a very prominent one as well. Right. So it is a testament to the work that you put in and the advancements that we've made as a sport. So I'm glad it can happen for you, but I don't think at any point you probably made a mistake. It's hard to convince yourself otherwise. Yeah.
It's when you wake up putting the same shirt and same jeans on, going to work, and it's like, you don't feel like you have much of a purpose. You feel like you're handing out DUIs every weekend. You kind of question your purpose if everything's going right. You know, I'm only happy when I'm training, but I can't find a way to train all the time because I got to pay for this stuff. So yeah, I guess maybe a mistake was the wrong way to look at it, but I just couldn't fathom that I would be able to train all day, every day. I'd be doing privates from, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. some days. Like I couldn't even imagine that people would want to learn from me, from my goonness, So it's just an amazing process.
Well, congrats to you, sir. And again, you are holding the leash on this hand, so I'm gonna awkwardly you let it go.
It's okay. He's a good
He's gonna stay right there.
He's a good boy. He's well trained. All
right, fair enough. Unlike you. All right. Here's what I'm going to say. Mike John, thank you for your time. Everybody over this way, do me. Why am I going to that camera? Why is it so out of focus? It should just be there. Let's go back to this camera. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Reminders, support us, HY.PAGE/Grappling Hour. Become a member of the Grappling Hour community. Get early access or premium. Both of them support me, thus the ability to come out here, see my friends like this.
Thank you.
Additionally, I want to tell you guys, if you haven't liked, subscribed, and commented, I mean, you watched a whole video. It's actually kind of rude to just show up and take this for free.
True.
If you're just watching it on YouTube and not at least be like, hey, good interview. Or I really like that one part when the dog showed up. Like, at least give a comment for the dog, I guess is what I'm saying.
Subscribe, a heart,
a heart. Wherever you're watching, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Final thing. Join the Discord. We have conversations. We're also looking at some of your footage. So if you got footage that you're rolling, go ahead and put it on up. We're also going to be keeping people accountable in 2023 for their goals. So don't think that I won't, because I literally write it down and I will insult you until you get it right. That's where I'm really good. Anyway, that's going to do it for us here. My thanks to everybody here at the world famous 10th Planet Orange. My thanks to Mike John. My thanks to you for watching. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.